It is a remarkable thing to look at a mighty grizzly bear and imagine its story began with an animal no larger than a house cat. Yet, that is precisely where the epic tale of the bear starts. Around 30 million years ago, long before the great ice ages shaped our world, a small tree-dwelling creature scurried through the forests of Eurasia. This animal, known as colossal, was not quite a bear as we know it today. It was slender, with a long tail, more like a raccoon or a small canine. This was the dawn of the bear family, a humble and quiet beginning for a dynasty that would one day produce some of the largest land predators on Earth. These early ancestors were not the powerful hunters we see today. They were cautious opportunists, surviving on a diet of insects, berries, and perhaps the occasional small lizard or rodent they could catch. Their small size was a tremendous advantage in this ancient world. It allowed them to climb trees with great agility, seeking refuge from larger predators that roamed the forest floor. They could hide in dense undergrowth, their small frames making them nearly invisible. Survival was not about strength, but about being clever, quick, and adaptable to the lush, subtropical forests they called home. Imagine a world teeming with life, where giant flightless birds and strange tusked mammals were the dominant forces. In this bustling environment, our little bear ancestor had to find its place. Its days were spent foraging for food, always alert to the sounds and sense of danger. It likely lived a solitary life, much like many of its modern descendants, coming together only to mate. These creatures were a testament to the idea that greatness can come from the most modest of origins. They were simply survivors, clinging to their small niche in a world that was constantly changing around them. The fossil record gives us glimpses into this distant past. The delicate bones of these first dawn bears tell a story of a life spent in the trees and on the forest floor. Their teeth were not the powerful crushers of a modern grizzly, but were suited for a varied diet of soft plants and small animals. They were generalists, able to eat whatever the forest provided. This flexibility was the secret to their success. It allowed them to spread across continents, from Asia into Europe and eventually North America, setting the stage for the next incredible chapter in their evolutionary journey. The world does not stand still. Over millions of years, the warm, stable climates that nurtured the first small bears began to change dramatically. The planet grew cooler and drier. Lush, subtropical forests began to shrink, replaced by vast grasslands and more open woodlands. These new environments presented both a challenge and an extraordinary opportunity for the descendants of those early cat-sized bears. The trees that once offered safety and food were becoming scarcer in many regions. To survive, bears had to adapt. They had to come down from the branches and stake their claim on the ground. This shift from the trees to the ground was a pivotal moment in bear evolution. As they spent more time on the forest floor, they encountered new food sources. There were roots to dig, grasses to eat, and larger animals to scavenge from. This change in diet triggered a change in their bodies. A larger body was better for digging and for traveling longer distances across the open plains in search of a meal. Slowly but surely, over countless generations, bears began to get bigger. Their legs grew longer and stronger, and their claws, once perfect for climbing, became better suited for digging and holding on to prey. Life on the ground also meant more competition. Bears were now sharing their habitat with formidable predators like saber-toothed cats and giant hyenas. In this more dangerous world, size became a form of defense. A larger bear was a more intimidating opponent, less likely to be attacked and more capable of defending its food or its young. This constant pressure from other species pushed bears along an evolutionary path towards greater size and strength. The small, timid creature of the ancient forests was transforming into a more confident and powerful animal. This period of change, known as the Miocene epoch, saw a wonderful diversification of the bear family. Different species emerged, each adapting to its own unique environment. Some remained relatively small and continued to eat a diet rich in plants. Others, however, followed the path to becoming true carnivores. They developed stronger jaws and sharper teeth, becoming more efficient hunters. This expansion across new landscapes and into new dietary niches was explosive. The bears were on the move and they were growing, setting the stage for the true giants that were yet to come. As bears grew larger, they unlocked a whole new set of advantages that allowed them to thrive in the cooling world. One of the most significant benefits of a large body is its ability to retain heat. As the ice ages approached and temperatures plummeted, staying warm became a matter of life and death. A bigger animal has less surface area relative to its volume. meaning it loses body heat much more slowly. This simple rule of physics, known as Bergmann's rule, explains why we often see the largest animals in the coldest climates. For bears, being big was like wearing a permanent thick winter coat. A larger frame also provided a crucial advantage in the hunt. While early bears were scavengers and foragers, their growing size allowed them to take down much larger prey. A bigger bear could overpower a deer, a bison, or even a young mammoth. This opened up a rich and reliable source of calories, full of the fat and protein needed to fuel a large body through long, harsh winters. Their strength allowed them to become apex predators in many ecosystems, sitting at the very top of the food chain with few natural enemies to worry about. Power had replaced agility as their primary tool for survival. Furthermore, size offered protection. A large, powerful bear is a difficult target for any predator. It can stand its ground, defend its territory, and protect its vulnerable cubs from threats. A simple display of size, standing on hind legs, showing off its immense stature, was often enough to ward off potential rivals. This security allowed bears to live more confidently, spending less energy on avoiding danger and more on finding food and raising the next generation. In the brutal world of the Ice Age, being the biggest and toughest creature around was the ultimate insurance policy. Finally, a large body acted as a living pantry. Bears are famous for their ability to hibernate, and to do this they must accumulate enormous fat reserves. A bigger body can store more fat. This allowed bears to survive through winter months when food was scarce, living off their own stored energy in a state of suspended animation. They could feast during the plentiful summer and autumn months, then retreat to their dens to wait out the cold. This remarkable adaptation, made possible by their great size, was key to their conquest of the northern continents. The journey towards gigantism reached its spectacular peak during the Pleistocene epoch, the Great Ice Age. This was the age of megafauna, a time of mammoths, woolly rhinos, and two of the most formidable bears that have ever lived, the giant short-faced bear and the cave bear. The giant short-faced bear, Arctodus simus, roamed the plains of North America. It was a truly colossal animal. Standing on its hind legs, it could have reached a height of 12 feet, tall enough to look into a first-story window. It was taller and leaner than modern bears, built for running across open landscapes. This magnificent beast was likely one of the most powerful predators of its time. Its long legs suggest it was capable of running at high speeds, allowing it to chase down prey like horses and bison. However, many scientists believe it was also a super scavenger. Its great height would have given it a commanding view of the landscape, allowing it to spot carcasses from miles away. Once it arrived, its sheer size would have been enough to intimidate any other predators, like saber-toothed cats or dire wolves, and claim the meal for itself. Its short, broad snout delivered an incredibly powerful bite, perfect for crushing bone to get at the rich marrow inside. Meanwhile, across the Eurasian continent, another giant dominated the landscape, the cave bear, Ursus spelaeus. As its name suggests, this bear is famous for the vast numbers of its skeletons found in caves, where it hibernated and often died. The cave bear was immensely powerful and heavily built, even larger than the biggest modern grizzly or polar bear. However, unlike the short-faced bear, its diet was almost entirely vegetarian. Detailed studies of its teeth show wear patterns consistent with chewing tough plant matter like roots and tubers. The cave bear was a product of its environment. It lived in a world of cold forests and mountainsides, and it adapted to a life of hibernating through the brutal winters and foraging for plants during the short summers. Thousands upon thousands of these bears would have populated the mountains of Europe. Their story is intertwined with that of early humans who also sought shelter in caves and would have competed with these giants for space. The ultimate fate of both the short-faced bear and the cave bear was sealed by the end of the Ice Age, when the climate changed and the world of megafauna they depended on vanished forever. Today, the age of the giants is over, but the bear family lives on, displaying a wonderful variety of shapes and sizes. The 8 surviving species of bear are a living library of evolutionary adaptation, each one perfectly suited to its unique corner of the world. They range from the colossal polar bear of the Arctic to the small and charming sun bear of Southeast Asia. This diversity shows that there is no single best way to be a bear. Instead, success comes from adapting to the specific challenges and opportunities that an environment presents. The largest of all living bears is the polar bear, Ursus maritimus. It is a specialist, a master of life in the frozen north. Its immense size helps it to conserve heat, and its thick layer of blubber provides both insulation and energy storage. Its white coat is the perfect camouflage for hunting seals on the sea ice. At the other end of the spectrum is the sun bear, the smallest of the bear family. Living in the hot tropical rainforests, it has no need for a large, heat-retaining body. Its small size and short, sleek fur are perfect for the warm climate, and its long claws are ideal for climbing trees to find fruit and insects. Between these two extremes we find the generalists. The American black bear and the brown bear, which includes the famous grizzly, are masters of adaptation. They can be found in a wide range of habitats, from dense forests to open mountainsides and even coastal estuaries. Their size can vary dramatically depending on where they live and what they eat. A brown bear feasting on salmon in Alaska can grow to be a true giant, rivaling its Ice Age ancestors, while a brown bear living in the mountains of Italy may be much smaller, subsisting on a diet of berries and roots. This variety is the key to their resilience. While the specialists like the polar bear and the giant panda are supremely adapted to one way of life, they are also incredibly vulnerable if that environment changes. The generalists, however, have more options. Their flexible diet and ability to live in different kinds of places have allowed them to become the most widespread and successful bears on the planet. The story of modern bears is a beautiful illustration of evolution in action, showing how a single family can diversify to fill so many different roles in the natural world. The long and magnificent evolutionary story of the bear has now entered its most challenging chapter. For millions of years, bears adapted to natural changes in climate and competition. Today, however, they face a new and powerful force: humanity. The rapid expansion of human populations has led to widespread habitat loss. Forests are cleared for agriculture, cities expand into wilderness areas, and roads cut through ancient territories. For animals like bears, which require vast spaces to roam and find food, this shrinking world is a direct threat to their survival. Climate change presents another profound danger, particularly for the specialists. The polar bear, the icon of the Arctic, is perhaps the most famous example. Its entire existence is tied to the sea ice, which it uses as a platform to hunt seals. As the planet warms and the Arctic ice melts earlier each year, the polar bear has less time to hunt and build up the fat reserves it needs to survive. The very foundation of its world is disappearing beneath its feet. Other species are also affected, as changing temperatures alter the timing of food sources like berries and salmon runs. This brings bears into increasing conflict with people. As their natural habitats shrink and food becomes scarcer, bears are more likely to wander into towns or farms in search of a meal. These encounters can be dangerous for both bears and humans, and they often end tragically for the animals. The story of the bear is becoming a story of coexistence, a challenge to find ways for our two species to share the planet. It requires us to protect wild spaces, manage our waste responsibly, and learn to live alongside these magnificent predators. The epic journey of the bear, from a cat-sized creature to a car-sized giant, and back to the diverse family we see today, is a powerful reminder of the resilience and adaptability of life. It is a story written over millions of years, a story of survival against the odds. Now, we are the primary force shaping their future. Protecting bears is about more than saving a single species. It is about preserving the wildness they represent and honoring the incredible evolutionary legacy that they carry. Their future, in so many ways, is in our hands.